This is why I don't tell anyone where I live. There was once a boy who asked his single father for a bedtime story, so the father told him. There was once a boy named 𝗃𝗂𝗲 who made friends with another boy online called 𝗃𝗂𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗃. On 𝗃𝗂𝗲's birthday, 𝗃𝗂𝗲𝗃 wanted to give him a present in real life, so 𝗃𝗂𝗲 gave him his home address, where he lives with his mom, his dad, and his little brother. But then 𝗃𝗂𝗲 started to feel a bit weird about giving his address to a stranger online. The next night, he thought he had to tell his parents about it. He called out to his dad but got no reply, then found both his parents killed and a man wearing a dark hoodie holding a knife in the hallway. As 𝗃𝗂𝗲 started to beg for his life, he hears his little brother crying in the next room. The intruder then strangles 𝗃𝗂𝗲 and leaves the house with 𝗃𝗂𝗲's baby brother. The boy then looks up at his father and asks, "Why did the intruder take the baby?" To which his father just calmly smiled and said, "I've always wanted to be a father."
Do you guys know why refrigerators are magnetic? Before the year 1956, refrigerators had latchets that would only open from the outside. And they were sealed with rubber, so they were also soundproof. When kids would play hide and seek, they would end up hiding inside of these refrigerators. And because they only opened from the outside, they would end up suffocating. And no, they cannot yell for their parents because the rubber makes them soundproof. The Refrigerator Safety Act started in 1956 to prevent that from happening, and all refrigerator companies decided to make them magnetic so that they would stay sealed, but they would also open from the inside. There were a couple of old ones still laying around, and the most recent case of this happening was back in 2013, when 2 South African kids were stuck inside of a refrigerator and ended up suffocating to death.
Has anyone ever told you not to do something and that just made you want to do it more? For these 3 girls, their curiosity would lead to something terrifying. These girls went to high school together, and one night they decided to have a sleepover. They were also fans of horror movies, so they thought it would be nice to rent one out and watch it. They eventually found a video rental store on the street corner and went inside. They would soon regret this decision. They asked a woman behind the counter if she had any suggestions for horror movies that they could watch. The woman said she had the perfect movie for them and went into the back room. Then one of the girls noticed that an old and rusted videotape was lying on the counter. She picked it up and was instantly curious, but things got intense when the woman came back. She slammed her hands down on the old videotape and pulled it away. She said, "That's not something you should be watching." The woman wouldn't say anything else, only that it was a home movie. Then she handed them a regular horror movie. The girls agreed to rent that one out instead, but one of the girls was still too curious. She wanted to know what was in that old tape, so when the woman wasn't looking, she put it in her purse and left with it. When the girls came home, they decided to watch the old tape together, but what they saw on there would both shock and terrify them. This is why you should not listen to your teacher. Once something terrifying happened to Sophia when she got to school. She went to class as usual when her teacher burst into the room and said, "Sophia, I have some bad news." She was shocked and embarrassed to be called out like that in front of her whole class. Her teacher then said, "Get your things, I just got off the phone with your father. He said your mom was in a horrible accident and he's gonna pick you up now and take you to the hospital." Sophia instantly froze in horror. She tried to explain, but her teacher kept interrupting her. "Why are you just standing around? Get your things now." But Sophia wouldn't move. She knew something wasn't right. She said, "I don't have a father. He passed away long ago and I never got to meet him. I was raised by a single mother all my life." To this day, Sophia still doesn't know who that man was claiming to be her father and what he planned to do if she had gone with him. If you're ever driving late at night, don't do what they did. One night, a boy and his friend were on their way to a school dance when they saw a girl on the side of the road looking lost. They stopped the car and asked if she needed a ride, and she asked them to take her home. They said that they were going to a school dance and asked if she wanted to come too. She agreed. But these boys wouldn't know yet that this girl was not an average hitchhiker. So they all got in the car and the girl sat in the back seat. After a while, the girl would constantly say that she was cold, so one of the boys gave her his jacket. They got to the dance and things were pretty normal, but what happened after would make the boys question reality. When the night was almost over, it was finally time to take the girl home. When they almost arrived, the girl told them where she lived, but told them to drop her off close by so she can walk the rest of the way. So that's what they did. But after the girl walked away, the boy who let her borrow his jacket realized that he never asked for his jacket back. His friend said that they could just come back tomorrow for it. The next morning, they came back expecting to get the jacket and leave, but things were not so simple. They came up to the girl's house and knocked on the door, but they were shocked at what they discovered as soon as the door opened.